leaving the door open to a double dissolution.
I want this legislation to be passed. I can't be more serious.
The Prime Minister using the government's centrepiece housing policy to escalate a high-stakes standoff with the Greens.
The way in which you rule out having a double dissolution election is to have no triggers.
That trigger to dissolve both houses of Parliament and hold an early election becomes available if the Senate again fails to pass the $10 billion Housing Australia Future Fund. The first time that happened was last month, when the Greens and Coalition joined forces.
The government will regard this as the Senate failing to pass the bill, and I'm sure you understand the consequences of that.
So far, the Greens are holding steadfast in their demands.
They are telling the public they would rather force the country back to another election rather than spend just an extra $2.5 billion a year on public housing and limit rent increases.
Threatening the Australian people with an early election is the height of arrogance from this Albanese government.
The government says the fund would build 30,000 social and affordable homes in its first 5 years. Some housing providers say it's time to get the job done.
Community housing providers, builders, developers, we're all ready to go. We're waiting to move forward.
Anthony Albanese has ruled out going to the polls this year, even if he gets the double dissolution trigger. And while the likelihood of the government following through and calling an early election might be low, the Prime Minister appears keen to have the option in his back pocket. Monte Bovill, ABC News, Canberra.